Hello and welcome to the history of movie theaters for Flint and Genesee County for 1884 to 1929. 1883. The music hall opens. 1894. The music hall becomes the Stones Opera House. 1905. Colonel Walter S. Butterfield converted two storefronts into the Bijou Theater, starring the Butterfield Theater chain. 1906. In September, the Electric Theater at 716 South Saginaw Street opens. 1907. The Wonderland Theater opens on January 21st. The Temple Theater opens on May 20th. The Electric Theater at South Saginaw Street closes. 1908. The new Electric Theater at 507 South Saginaw opens on January 4th. The Casino Theater opens on March 10th. The Della Theater is first mentioned in the December 11, 1908 in the Lost and Found section of the Classified Ads. The Savoy Theater opens. 1909. The Gem Theater opens on May 27th. The Bijou Theater is renovated and reopened on September 6th. The Garrick Theater opens on November 26th. The Casino Theater opens. The Wonderland Theater closes for conversion into barracks for the Salvation Army. 1910. The Buick Grand Theater placed its first ad on March 30th. The Air Dome opens on June 11th with no roof and a dirt floor. These theaters closed in 1910. 1911. The Jewel Theater opens around May. These theaters closed in 1911. 1912. The Family Theater opened on May 29th. The Orpheum Theater is first mentioned in the Journal in June. The Savoy Theater is renamed the Royal on October 5th. The Della Photoplays opens at 521 South Saginaw. The Star Theater opens. 1913. Butterfield Theatres takes over the Stones Opera House. These theaters also opened in 1913. The Garrick Theatre closes. 1914. The Rex Theatre opened in November. 1915. The Stones reopens on August 11th as the Majestic Theatre. The Bijou Theatre is reopened by Butterfield Theatres on September 6th as the Garden Theatre. The Strand Theatre is opened by Butterfield Theatres in September. The Rex at 1612 North Saginaw opens. The Old Rex Theatre closes. (1916) The Princess Theatre opened on June 10th. The Family Theatre at 2915 Industrial is first mentioned on June 6 in the Flint Journal. These theaters closed in 1916. (1917) The Palace Theatre opens. The Fredo Theatre opens. These theaters closed in 1917. (1919) The Royal Theatre reopens as the New Savoy Theatre on November 20th. The Globe Theatre opens. The Regent Theatre opens. The Ideal Theatre in Flusing opens. The Della Photoplays closes. (1920) The Regent Theatre opens on March 10th. The Richard Theatre opens on April 7th. The Globe Theatre opens on August 25th. The Broadway Theatre opens. The Savoy Theatre closes. (1921) The Colonial Theatre opened on December 10th. The White Eagle Theatre opens. The Princess Theatre closed. (1923) The Colonial Theatre reopens on August 12th as the Durant Theatre. The Globe Theatre closed. (1924) These theaters closed in 1924. 1925. The State Theater opened on February 24th. The Ritz Theater opened on October 17th at the site of the old Globe Theater. The Gem Theater closed. 1926. The Fredo Theater closed around 1926. 1928. The Capitol Theater is opened by Butterfield Theaters on January 19th as the leading movie theater in Flint. The Dixie Theater placed its first ad on August 28. 1929. The Michigan Theater opens on April 25th. The Ideal Theater in Flusing becomes the Princess Theater. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.